So, let's take a look at the text and see what we have. We have a couple of turrets in our battle station as well. Let's cover those as well, just so that everybody knows what this is about. The spider turrets are infinite range turrets slowing down enemies. They are very good. Very, very good. Translocator turrets are sort of shorter range, but they push away enemies up to 2 ATX of mass. So they can help you protect, for example, infinite range turrets. Holocene missile turrets are also infinite range. They do a blast that does its full damage potential only when hitting 25 enemies, but they do a lot of damage when that happens. The militia headquarters, protector shipyards, I'm going to get to later, just for infiltractor beams, hold enemies in place, and tachyon beams, or tachyon arrays, slow down enemies. That's the turrets on this battle station. Then here we have counter-sniper turrets, yet more infinite range turrets, dealing more damage the further away enemies are, up to 10 times the listed damage, or up to extra 10 times, so technically 11 times the listed damage. Interceptor turrets are similar to the Shrikes. They do bonus damage if the enemy moves at least 1000 speed. But it doesn't matter if they're moving 1000, 2000 or 10,000 speed. Then we also have Tritium Sniper turrets, which is basically a turret variant of the Tritium Sniper Frigate, also infinite range. And of course, tractor beams and tachyon arrays and a couple of engineers. Command stations come with their own turrets and other defenses. We have from the vanilla, the pike turrets on, I think, all command stations. They do bonus damage against enemies that have higher armor, similar to the assault frigates, but they also do bonus damage against enemies with at least 75% of health when shields are down. And that means basically all strikecraft. Force fields, of course, protect us. The rest here is known. These are from the More System Defenders mod, and they spawn a couple of warheads that will seek enemies on the planet and explode into them. There's 2 different kinds of warheads that they launch, the Shockwave and Nova Bursts. I would have to look at them to see what they do. Assault frigates are effectively the same, or the station-keeping assault frigates are the same as the normal assault frigates, but they can only go anywhere on this planet. They can't go to other planets or enter fleets or something. The station-keeping escort carriers are very powerful. They spawn a couple of defense strikecraft. I think it was Raptor drones, which are good at ambushing enemies that have come just out of wormholes, because they do bonus damage there. And they also are parasitic, which means that they can put zombification damage on enemies and turn them into zombies, which is so good for defense. They are one of my favorite ships when I have it, and one of my least favorite ships when the AI has it. And Watchman frigates do a good amount of damage. They are similar to the assault frigates, only that they can't pierce shields, and they are much faster and weaker. I think at the beginning of this they were almost called janitorial frigates, because they are the janitors of the system. They deal with things that turrets can't reach, but not much else. They also have a couple of defensive bonuses, unlike the others here. If the target has been on the planet for less than 12 seconds, they only get two-thirds of the damage received. If the target has an albedo of 0.7, which or more, then they only get 0.5% of that. That also stacks. The 0.7 albedo is mostly for cloaked ships. Almost all cloaked ships have 0.7 or more, which means that they are good against cloaked ships especially. When a cloaked ship has been on this planet for less than 12 seconds, this, by the way, also stacks in a multiplicative way, which means that it'll only do about a third of damage. This station here, we have the Briar Patch turrets. Again, a couple of shots that slow down enemies, similar to spider turrets, but these are cloaked and much shorter range, and also are not very tough, to be honest. Pike turrets we've seen. These are just from our defense, from our battle stations that we could build here. Now here we also have the artillery destroyer, the station keeping variant, which has a couple of anti-high mass twin magnetic accelerators at long range, and the same range suppressive flags. So in a certain way they are like a smaller brother of these Great Sabot destroyer. But they are much more useful at defending the planet, because they don't only do damage to big things, they also do very decent damage to small enemies with low armor instead of low mass. So that's our techs for now, our ships for now. Let's go out and see what we can do with this. Now we could be upgrading a couple of stuff here. We could upgrade our hollow steel missile turrets, but I'm much more interested in core. Because while we don't have them yet, the Tritium Sniper and Great Sabot Destroyer are also part of this. We have Tritium Sniper turrets, we have the Obstructor V-Wings, and we have Translocator Sniper Frigates. So yeah, that's a solid pick. I'm going to put one level into this. Disruptive, we would be boosting basically all the turrets our command stations get from the Pike turret variant and Translocators. And depending on what we take, Stalker or Pillager ships from this one here. But that is up in the air, well, we'll take those. Exotic-wise, we can upgrade the Vanguard and Parasite Hydras, which is very good. Splash, we only have, right now at least, the Zappers and Cruise Missile batteries. Hailstorm turrets and area minefields are potentially there. Subterfuge is looking a lot better. We have the Counter Sniper and Spider turrets and Briar Patch turrets. We could even get more Briar Patches or Stalkers. And Tarantulas and Cloak Virus Shredders are in our fleet right now. Looking at the hulls, this only has the Obstructive V-Wings, but it would also get the Shrike Interceptors and Tritium Sniper Frigates. As for medium, we can immediately boost a lot of things, and I'm very sure I will put a point into that. Usually, you don't really go with hull tags this early, but right now this is absolutely worth it. Heavy hull also has a couple of things that we could boost. As you can see, we're also boosting the civilian stuff here. These don't do anything yet, so we don't need to worry about them so far. We can boost one more thing. We could go for Subterfuge or for Exotic. We could also keep this in reserve, but we do not have anything in these categories yet, and thus they are useless for us right now, and we can't even upgrade them. If we're going for immediate power, we may very well go for the heavy mine layers and the interceptor turrets maybe. We could hack Bastille turrets, because we also need to take a look at the turrets we would be getting. Right now, none of these turrets would be upgrading with our tech groups. So we would have to at least decide on one of these. Raid, probably not. Ambush maybe, Subterfuge maybe, Splash maybe. Let's hold off on that for a moment. You don't need to spend any more tech right now. So, let us load up our fleet. And slow down the game, so that we can start thinking better. Now, this is building up. We are spending a lot of metal building all our things. And now we are down to 600, almost 700k. We don't really need to worry much about this. It's mostly against high armor. But if we look at our ships, let's just take a look here. We don't really have high armor. 60, 90 millimeters, 50, 110. Well, actually we do have a decent amount of stuff, 110 as well. But there's not that high armor on this many ships, especially not this many large ships. Couple of vampire turrets, couple of guardians. We would need to take out the nucleophilic ones, but they have only 0.3 albedo, which means we have a decent amount of bonus damage between our sniper frigates and them. Other than that, this is a corrosive guard post. This is an unarmed one, unarmed. Yeah, I don't think this planet is going to pose much of a risk for us. Let us go get in here. We're going to queue the unload command. There's a couple of ships that escaped, but nothing too bad. And they will probably start running very quickly anyway. So, let us simply take our snipers. Oh yeah, we don't have the tritium snipers. Okay, we don't have them yet, I should say. Let us have them take these ships out. As for the... Oh, before I forget, what the tugboat drones do is not much. All they do is get close and slow enemies with a gravity field. But that also overlaps, and it has a pretty high engine power limit. So combined, they can really slow down some things. Let's get our obstructors and Teslas to focus on this, which will release all the ships from this guard post. And I will have our parasites focus on these ships so we can get some more stuff and prevent them from running, hopefully. And what else? We will focus the command station once that all is done. Here is the push. Yeah, they're getting pushed pretty far away. We don't need to worry about them yet. Oh, they are also subject to be slowed by our forces. Just a little more. Should be the last salvo. And now take out the command station so we stop attrition. And the enemy is already running. There's not much that I can really do to prevent all of these ships from escaping. I probably should have brought in the battle stations, but you only start noticing that later. Actually, let us just take the battle stations and move them here, because those guys have almost escaped. And, yeah. Okay, we would have to move here. But we are not going to get there in time. That said, our snipers are working on getting rid of a lot of these. I believe it's time to speed this up. Nothing interesting is going to happen here. Couple new journals, and we will take a look at this after the fight. Now the vampire turrets, we should be focusing on them one at a time, because they regenerate based on the damage they deal. Yeah, this world is conquered effectively. Once the turrets here are down, I'm going to put a command station up. And here I'm going for a logistic one. Now we are expecting more to come from here, because we will most likely take this planet. So I'm going to angle it towards these planets, even though the economic command station I will put on the other planet probably will be going down at some point, and then ships will flood in here. So civilians are going for melee tech here. Let us build our force fields. Can't put one on this side, but I can put them on the other side. Right. Pikes. Mostly towards this direction. And then we can build tractor beams. Let's select the range. And build them, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the rest about here. That should hold them off. Gravity generator wise, I'm going to put both here, because then the gravitic fields are overlapping. Mines I'm going to place in range of the turrets here, so that the enemy can get paralyzed all the way when they are caught in the fields. And then we can basically enable the automated building of cruise missile batteries, which should put them, yeah, right here, next to inside our force field. So, let us get started on the rest of things. It's looking pretty solid here.